Welcome to Beyond Food and Wine, a Le Cordon Bleu podcast. In this podcast, we get some real insight into the food and hospitality industry from a variety of renowned chefs, industry experts, and Le Cordon Bleu alumni. Join us as we hear the fascinating stories and unique experiences behind some of the best-known names in the industry. Hello and welcome. I am delighted to be joined today by Leonardo Cannavale. Leonardo, you're an alumni of Le Cordon Bleu and a private chef. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Hello to everyone. Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. What about you?
Very good, very good. Glad to be here with you. Where are you joining us from today?
Joining us to talk about my experience at the Cordon Bleu, about the career I had until now and the experience I had. I think could be really interesting for all of you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So I'll start off by asking you, what drew you to come to Le Cordon Bleu in London? And have you always wanted to work in hospitality?
So everything started from my little home here in Milan. I mean, I took a lot of inspiration from my family, from my mom especially, because she really loves to cook. And then when I finished my study here in Milan, I was like, I didn't want to do, the usual stuff like lawyer, economy, these kind of things. And as I really love to cook and to practice sport, I was in between these two choices. And I was like, let's try to go on cooking side. And I was looking for a few options, and I picked up Le Cordon Bleu in London because I wanted to take the opportunity to learn English and to learn, of course, cooking style. A new cooking style. And I decided to live for Cordon Bleu because it's one of, I think it's the best cooking school in the world. And everything started from that. So I was like a risk, was like I used the decision because I was 18 years old. But I think it was the best decision I ever took, even thanks to my family that supported me with this choice.
That's fantastic. It's so important to have some kind of support network when you're making a big decision like that, especially when it involves, coming to a different country as well.
Yeah, of course. And I think until you don't try, you will never know. So I tried, I attended Le Cordon Bleu, and I really loved the experience. Since the first day, everyone are really welcoming, all the teachers are fantastic. So it was a really incredible experience.
Fantastic. We love to hear it. So what's your career been like since graduating from Le Cordon Bleu?
So I graduated Grand Diplôme at Cordon Bleu, studied pastry and cuisine, both of them. And then I started straight away in London to work in London. I did a stage in Marcus Wareing in Barclay Hotel.
Yeah.
And then I started to work straight away at Sketch, where I stayed for like a year.
Nice.
And then I moved to Dinner by Aston Blumenthal in Mandarin Hotel. And I think these two experiences were really like gave me especially of course after the school, but is where I started like debate how to work in the kitchen in the industry, because there was like a lot of work going on, a lot of people, a lot of covers every day. There was like no stop every day. And there I learned how to be organized. I learned the discipline. I learned the method. So it was really good professional experiences. And then I decided to move from UK, from London. I moved to Italy worked for a 3 Michelin star restaurant in north of Italy, in Trentino. Then I moved to Monaco, Monte Carlo for Alain Ducasse, Les Weekends. And then my last experience was in Barcelona for Martin Barazategui, another 3 Michelin star. And during that period was COVID time, so it was like the restaurant was struggling a bit, was closing, opening, and I decided to go back to Milan, and I started like a bit like that because they required me for dinner services, and everything started like that, and I started to work as a private chef since, and now it's already like almost 4 years that I'm working as a private chef. Yeah.
That's amazing. So do you think that if it wasn't for the pandemic and lockdown and everything, do you think your career would have gone in a restaurant direction, or do you think you were
I
always
think
destined to
would
become a private chef?
yeah, it would have been totally different because I mean, in my goal there was Spain, and I did Spain, of course, but I didn't do in a way I wanted to do because, of course, during COVID everything was different. And then my other kind of goals in my career, professional career, was to have an experience in Japan, and I still missed it. I would love to go there as a tourist to visit that and to learn a lot of cooking skills, of course. But I think in terms of cooking experience in the restaurant, I'm not dealing to go back to work in the restaurant, if I have to be honest. So everything was changed because of COVID, and everything was a coincidence that I started to work as a private chef. But I loved it. Was everything is different. I mean, you have a lot of responsibilities in different ways, but I think it's really nice, and I'm really happy that I took this choice at that point.
That's fantastic. I suppose, as much as the pandemic had a negative effect on many things, it really allowed some people to face up and decide exactly what they really wanted to do. And it's great that it kind of, had that silver lining for you anyway. So,
I mean, if I have to be honest, one of my dreams was like to have a catering company since I started to work in the kitchen. And I didn't know really a lot about how is to work as a private chef. And I learned with experience, like day by day, learning by mistakes, by failure, and every day I was learning new things. And I think it's something really nice, and I really love to be a private chef right now.
Fantastic. So can you tell me what have some of your career highlights been so far?
I think, as I said, I mean, working in a restaurant is really tough. It's really challenging. Every day you have to challenge yourself to be ready to work many hours, to be really under pressure every day, especially if you work in a Michelin star restaurant. You always have to be ready kind of to fight, to do everything perfect, everything in the right way, how the chef supposed to, how the chef is pretending to be. And these, I mean, I think having these kind of experiences give you a kind of knowledge, of course, and give you the chance to build up your character as well, not just in cooking skills, but in all the aspects, because you really have to be ready and to deal with any problems, every things is going on in the kitchen. So I'm really glad I did these kind of experiences because thanks to that, now I'm kind of ready to deal with everything going on with my experiences. And even when there is something that doesn't work how I would like to, but I always try to find the solution, So I think everything I learned from working in Michelin star restaurants and working with the best chef is that always find a solution, always be organized, always be ready for everything, because everything can happen in the kitchen.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a very valuable lesson to learn, and something you can carry through into every part of your working and personal life, really.
And then I pick up a few chefs that I work with that are my inspiration every day, because it's not about just like cooking style, it's about even the human side. And I think they gave me this kind of passion that they are still having for cooking that I think is impressive.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are so many inspiring chefs, and I think that's what's wonderful about the industry, is that everyone can kind of take a little bit of inspiration from how each other works and really drive each other, and passion is infectious.
I mean, this is an example. I mean, I remember really well. I mean, all the chefs from Le Cordon Bleu are amazing, but I remember one is Anthony. And the other day he did a reaction on my LinkedIn profile about my Wimbledon experience, and I was like, wow. I mean, after 9 years, he still remember about me, and straight when I saw him, it was like a flashback from 9 years ago, and I was like, wow, how crazy and how nice journey I had seen so far. And it's really amazing to see that.
It is. It's great. The chefs, they care. They're invested in the success of, I think, everyone who passes through the doors of Le
Yeah.
Cordon Bleu. So it's fantastic. I'm glad to hear.
Yes.
So speaking of Wimbledon, can you tell us a little bit about that? I'm sure people would love to hear.
Yeah, it was an incredible experience, I have to say. I mean, unforgettable. Everything started like a couple of weeks before. I mean, my goal was to be in Paris for Olympic Games. I would have
Sure.
liked to be there, like to cook for professional athletes. But then I found out it was a bit difficult because, there is the village for the athletes, or the food is coming from there. So it's not
Yeah.
really easy to organize it. And even when I was working in London, I really have a lot of inspiration about tennis tournaments. I mean, I really love sport. I really love tennis. Grew up with the myth of Roger Federer, so I had the pleasure to see him playing during Wimbledon when I was working in London a few years ago. And then, like a couple of weeks before the tournament, I was like, you know what? Let's try to find a solution to work for some athletes during the tournament. And I mean, I had really positive response from a lot of athletes, a lot of people from the team of the athletes. And I took the flight on Friday without knowing what was going to happen, because the tournament was going to start on Monday. And I worked like every day, and I received a lot of requests every day to be the chef for the night. And every day I discover and I cooked for different tennis players. And one of them is Jasmine Paolini, which she reached the final of the tournament. So I kind of cooked during her journey during the tournament until the final. And I mean, to see the behind the scene, to cook in the night, and then day after to see them, to watch them playing in Wimbledon was like super emotional for me. I mean, it was like a crazy experience. And even to see the behind the scene of the food, how do you say, the food stuff where they could eat at Wimbledon, and to see all the players there eating was like incredible. It was like crazy.
That's fantastic. So you really kind of put yourself out there and took a chance.
Yes.
And it paid off. That's amazing.
Yes. This is another advice I would like to give, is like, if you have something in mind, try so hard to make it, because maybe not today, but one day it's going to happen for sure. If you try hard and you believe it's going to happen.
That's true. I mean, you're never going to get anywhere if you don't try, right? So that's brilliant. That's really very, very, very cool.
And to put together my profession / passion and my passion of sports, and to combine together was insane, actually.
Well, that's the dream, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. So what sort of thing were you cooking? Can you tell us?
I mean, this is funny because I always say I work in many Michelin star restaurants where they pretend like everything to be perfect, everything to be like crazy quality and everything. Of course, I brought all these I learned to make even simple things in a perfect way, but I end up doing the packery with tomato sauce, and maybe seafood packery, vegetables, pasta, and then of course, like, they were always asking me a protein, which was like chicken, like breast chicken, like lemon breast chicken, or seafood like turbo sea bass with a lot of vegetables on the side. So like clean meals, really healthy, with all the macros included, like protein, vegetables, and carbs. And then nothing else. I mean, of course, I really like, I mean, my cooking style right now, I mean, is not, I wouldn't say is like maybe Michelin star level, but I really like to take the really best quality and to really respect the product to give the best flavor out of it,
Yeah,
and
sure.
A lot of people, I mean, actually a lot of people and all the guests I have so far, they really enjoy my cooking style, and even the tennis player really loved to be spoiled and to receive this kind of treatment during the tournament.
I bet. I mean, you need to have that fuel if you're in a sporting tournament. It must be completely exhausting. So you need to make sure that you're starting with the right kind of nutrition. So
That's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, after the match, they were coming home and having the dinner ready to eat, and the best service they could expect. So I could have seen they really enjoyed this kind of service, and they didn't know about this kind. I mean, there was existing this kind of private chef service, so they were surprised in a positive way about everything was going on during the night.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully you're going to be a regular fixture at different tournaments, and the word's going to spread, and all the athletes will be fighting over you.
I would love to. I mean, I really believe that if you have a proper nutrition, then you can perform in a different way, in the best way. So it's one of my goals in the future, that to build up something like that.
Yeah, fantastic. And absolutely, I mean, the right, starting with the right ingredients and the best quality, is a good fundamental way to start, really. You've got to build on that, and then you can build on the kind of the flavor and the quality of the dishes. Yeah, well, fantastic. I'm, very impressed. So going on to your general kind of life as a private chef, can you tell me, what's it like? What are some of the more kind of unusual things you've been asked to cook? Is it very much the same sort of thing? Do you have a lot of freedom, or what's it like?
I have to say, I mean, some guests, they really like to have always the same stuff. So I mean, maybe they called me for one dinner a few years ago, and then they always repeat the same menu because they loved it.
Sure.
They don't want to risk to change something, because maybe if I'm gonna try something different, they not appreciate the same way as the previous menu. And I have few guests, actually, they really love to experiment new things. So I have to thank a lot of my clients as well, because thanks to them, I experiment new dishes, new creations, and they are challenging me, because they're like, okay, you have the freedom to do whatever you want. I think this is the most challenging thing, because it's like, okay, you have the freedom, now what I'm gonna do? So you have to stay there, you have to think, you have to study, you have to kind of learn new technique. So I think this is really nice. And I mean, I just finished now 3 weeks working for this family, and for example, they like to have the mix of them. So they have the solid base of like the usual things, but sometimes they would like to try something new, some new creative stuff. So they're like, okay, a few days before, they're like, okay, this day we would like to have something new, surprise us. So I have the freedom to do whatever I want. So this is really nice, because I really like to do even like kind of normal stuff, but in a perfect way. I really like as well to experiment new things, and they challenge me as well, because they require me to do something from different ethnic, like South American or Indian cuisine. So it's really interesting for me, because thanks to them, I learn and understand how are the different cultures around the world.
Fantastic.
Maybe, which is something that I never tried before, and I'm like, okay, I'm discovering with them something new. So I think it's really nice to learn new things thanks to the clients.
Yeah, definitely. I guess maybe what some people wouldn't realize is that part of the role is to do some research and actually kind of build a repertoire of recipes, that you can draw upon from everywhere.
And then maybe to put, of course, always my own touch, because I always have my touch. And like happened a few times that they told me, okay, I tried the original version, and this is even better, because you put your touch, maybe some kind of heavy recipe that, for example, in this case, they really enjoyed my healthy recipe of tiramisu, because they like to eat healthy. I create this healthy recipe of tiramisu, and they told me actually it's even better than the original version. So I was like, wow.
That's excellent. Well, I'm sure everyone will want to try that. Eat your tiramisu and it's healthy. Fantastic.
I mean, it's really simple, but if you bring the right flavor and of course the right balance.
Yeah. Well, you have to have the know-how to be able to create that dish.
Exactly.
Wonderful. So what advice would you give to someone who's kind of looking to follow in the same direction as you?
So to work as a private chef, or to work in the industry?
Either.
I think I have to say that a lot of people is trying to try to work as a private chef, but I think it's really important to previously have an important experience. Can be Michelin star, can be restaurants, whatever you prefer. But it is really important to have a solid base, not really in terms of cooking style, in cooking skills, because I think cooking skills you can learn even by yourself. But it's about the method, it's about the organization, it's about all the behind the scene you have and you learn inside the kitchen. Because if you for example you attend the Cordon Bleu and then you want to become straight away a private chef, of course you have the cooking skill, but you don't have if you don't leave the kitchen, you don't understand, So I think this is really important. And then of course what you learn being a private chef is all the other aspects. So to talk with the clients, to deal with the clients, to understand what they want, what are them requirements. So, you learn a lot about the human side, because of course, as you know, when you are in the kitchen, you just kind of cook, you just deal with your colleagues, but you're not on the floor to talk with the clients now. So when you become a private chef, it's totally different. So you have to deal even the kind of waiter aspect as well, because you have to deal with the clients. Yeah. But I think it's really, really important to have a kind of solid base. Then, as I said, you never stop learning, because even if you are a private chef, you keep going learning and experiment new things. But without a solid base, I think it's really difficult to become a proper private chef. Then, of course, you can be a private chef, but the extra touch you can have is having a previous experiences, maybe a few of them, so you can see different places, how they work, and you can pick up the best things out of them.
Yeah. That's really interesting, because I suppose a lot of people maybe wouldn't take into account the interpersonal side of it, where you are actually face to face, one-on-one with your client, which is different from restaurants. So yeah, it's really interesting. And so do you think you'll kind of expand? You mentioned earlier about having your own catering business. Do you think that's still in the pipeline, or do you have any other kind of plans for the future?
So as I mentioned before, I really would like to combine my cooking career with the athletes, with the professional way, or even like to teach people the culture of eating, because a lot of people even is telling me like, I would like to have this diet, I'm following this diet, but it's not successful, this and that. I don't really think it's like diet, is like the lifestyle, which is different. It's like you have to learn how to deal with the food, to learn the products, to learn, okay, this food or these ingredients is good if I want to have this goal, these other ingredients is good for this other reason. So this, of course, with the athletes, because even in the professional world about athletes and everything, I think there is still a lot of work to do. I'm not a nutritionist, but I really like to discover more and maybe to work alongside a nutritionist to build up something nice, not just for athletes, as I said, even for like normal people that like to be healthy and they like to practice sports. And then the other goal I would like to have is to build up a kind of agency of private chef. So to be a kind of center point of different clients. So they're like, okay, I'm looking for a chef for this period, whatever. And then maybe I'm not able to go there because I'm already busy, to send up some other chefs to work for them. So to build up kind of a dream team of a few private chefs, I don't know, 10, whatever. And then whatever they require is, I send them to work for my clients.
Fantastic.
Because I see that I have a lot of requests right now. I have kind of solid work for this family, so I don't have a lot of time available, and it's quite sad that I cannot find a solution for all my clients.
Yeah.
So I think if you find this kind of solution, and if you find the proper private chef to work for you, you can build something really nice.
That's a really great idea. Yeah. It'd be fantastic if you can, if you're not available, then you have someone, you know, you can trust and send their way. So yeah, fingers crossed.
And I think here in Italy, we arrived a bit later than the other countries about the private chef, but a lot of people is discovering it, especially here in Milan. So I think in the next years, it's going to increase a lot the request. So I would like to be ready for that and to have something organized already.
Well, you're going to have to talk to your fellow Le Cordon Bleu alumni.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Poach some of them into your business.
Yeah, exactly. There is someone available for that.
Fantastic. Well, you know, we can't wait to see what happens next. Keep seeing you at Wimbledon and all the other sporting events in the future. And I wish you the very best of luck.
Yeah, and one day when I was there in London, I passed in front of the school and I was like, wow, I did like a huge flashback because I started the school when I was 18, as I said, and I was like a little child without speaking English, without knowing kind of anything about cooking. And I mean, if you really have the passion, I mean, I discovered the passion about cooking thanks to Le Cordon Bleu, I have to say, because it was an amazing year with you guys. And thanks to that, everything started. So it was really a pleasure to attend the school during that moment. And I think the school over there in London, it's amazing. And as I said, the teachers are amazing. All the environment is amazing. My mates were amazing as well. So it was an incredible experience.
Brilliant. I'm so glad you had a good time. And, you know, next time you're in London, you'll have to come back.
Yeah, I would like to. Yeah.
And, you know, Anthony's still there. You come and see Chef Anthony. He would love that.
Yeah, it's one of my goals actually to go back and to see everything. I mean, would be amazing.
Definitely. Well, we'll look forward to when that happens for sure.
Thank you.
Good. Well, thank you so much for talking to us today. That was really interesting, and we can't wait to hear the best that's going to happen next.
Thank you very much. Stay in touch for sure.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Beyond Food and Wine, a Le Cordon Bleu podcast. Keep up to date with all our news and episodes by following us on social media or by signing up to our newsletter. Links are included in the episode notes. Until next time, à bientôt!